Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Chong Yian 141031 from Group 272. I'd like to talk about the future of learning. I've divided my presentation into three parts: the traditional versus future learning, altruistic learning, and self-driven learning. Let's first look into the traditional versus future learning. The traditional education system is a traditional learning method in which the learning goal is to produce obedient workers. The traditional education system is like an assembly line where children of the same age were sent to school at the same time to be shaped into products to meet the demand through the same teaching method. They were graded and later sent to the workplace correspondingly. We can see that, as a whole, the education system doesn't have much difference today than it did in the 1950s. However, does this educational system really prepare us for the workforce? Or should we probably ask, does this traditional learning system prepare us for the workforce now and of the future? Time has changed, but our learning system and field did not. Anyhow, we should first have a clear understanding of the differences between AI and human. Human possess three unique abilities which cannot be replicated by AI. They are aesthetic, creativity, and empathy. Therefore, these abilities are essential to be emphasized and nurtured in children, both now and in the future. However, looking into the traditional learning method now, examination-based broad learning is still the mainstream. Well, for the AI to remember all the information and knowledge available around the globe, it only requires a single chip. See the Achilles heel? Thus, rather than focusing on blindly memorizing, it would be better to learn the effective way to integrate information and to see the connections between complex information. In fact, now in China, there's a special great teacher which refused to memorize knowledge by rote. He is Jiang Junjing. He practices gentle reformative education method. As a Chinese teacher, he comprehensively outlines the beauty of ancient poems from different aspects, such as historical alternation, geographical changes, culture and folklore development, celebrity monuments, and related legends. Through multidisciplinary integration and interaction, it is conducive to broaden children's knowledge and comprehensively improve children's comprehensive ability. Besides, this could also cultivate children's moral character. So, how does this relate to the future learning? In fact, the ability of reading comprehension is crucial for information processing and integration, and even connoisseurship, as well as creative ability. These are some of the important skills that we should possess now and in the future, isn't it? Next, the altruistic learning. As what has been mentioned at the first point, the learning goal in the traditional school is merely to score high marks in the examination and secure a well-paid job. With that, current education system mostly produces exquisite egoists. Why? This is because the traditional learning aims less emphasize on the commitment of oneself to society and our country. People pursue for ways to earn more, to chase money, fame, and power. Moneyism and materialism are widespread all around the world. The self-beneficial thought is caused by the educational loopholes. You may want to ask, we have been learning moral and ethical since primary school. When did they become moral? We also learn ethnic relations, Islamic and Asian civilization in university. These are all compulsory courses. So why this is happening? Well, the answer is in the question itself. They are compulsory, which means you cannot graduate and get your certificate without passing them. To pass these subjects, all we have to do is to memorize. Again, memorize by rote. Therefore, the high marks scored doesn't mean that one is equipped with high morality and humanity. This phenomenon substantially leads to ignorance, a serious social problem with potentially deadly consequences. To solve this issue, altruistic learning should be encouraged. Altruistic learning describes the manner in which self-oriented decision-making systems learn about their social environmental in the way that yields altruistic behavior. To promote altruistic behavior, people are required to truly understand the world and to feel the connections, relationship between people and our surroundings. To realize the above ideal, in the practical education system, the field of learning should be more related to our daily life instead of just focusing only on the topics covered in the curriculum, and to see the connections between subjects which are taught separately, and to truly learn the core spirit of learning. Now that we know that the aim of learning is to promote altruism as much as possible, so let's move on to our next point, self-driven. According to the latest Malaysia Education Blueprint, it has been mentioned that we should now focus on lifelong learning instead of examination-oriented learning. Besides, UPSR is fully abolished from this year onwards. Well, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic may have been a catalyst in this case. However, the impact of examination execution is deep-rooted in our society. Many teachers and parents are still obsessed with examination. Actually, examination itself is not bad, but too much emphasis on it will bring reverse effect. Therefore, we should be clear with the true objective of it and look at things in the long run. The purpose of learning should be learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. These are the 4 pillars of learning presented by Deleuze. On the other hand, the UNESCO statistics reveals that Malaysians only read 15 books per year on average. But actually, reading is an important habit, and the power of this habit could form character, and character determines fate. This indicates that the examination-based learning has undermined the self-driven learning of our people imperceptibly in the long term. Once graduated, most of the people stop reading and learning, where this is directly contradicted to the lifelong learning practice. Hence, stop being persistent on good-looking data and results. Confront the actual situation of our education honestly. Seek the root causes, analyze them thoroughly to find the most suitable, updated learning method in the coming era. With that, we can cultivate future generations that are self-driven and have competitive advantages along the course of time. Few know that in 2014, Elon Musk created Astra, a super exclusive and innovative school. It is a mysterious, disruptive experimental school with its own system. He subverts traditional learning system. Firstly, abolished grade system or classification system according to age. Classification here is based on skill and interest assessment. In these regards, children of different ages are taught to work together. This is more appropriate and logical as it is closer to the real world. At present, most of the things that people learn are meaningless because many of the things they learn in school will never be used in the future. Thus, the children here learn AI, applied science, coding, and design many things, one of which is making robots. Apart from that, a professional teacher qualification certificate may not be required. Look at Malaysia. Teachers today have tons of paperwork to be done every single day. How could teachers have enough time to do lesson preparation, not to mention to go further study or self-study? Moreover, many teachers go further study just to be promoted instead of self-improvement. Therefore, as long as a teacher is expert in one field and full of enthusiasm, that teacher is qualified. With that, every child has the opportunity to see the splendid scenery in different fields. Knowledge does not need to be painfully instilled, but to be learned with own willingness. And the child's free nature is not contradictory to learning success. Self-driven learning is something that can be influenced by the adults with the love of learning to our children. Finally, in short, the education reform requires continual effort and a long time. Look at the green miracle that China had achieved, where the deserts are turned into oases. This is the power of knowledge. This is the power of persistence, altruism, dedication, and change. This is the right path for the future learning. Nothing is impossible.